Truth TV. Hey, Alan, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Nice to talk to you today.
Yes, so for season two, knowing it got picked up and knowing you're doing it again, what is more this year? Less stunts or more stunts, or is it you doing most of it?
I think we figured out season one what formula kind of works. As far as the action goes, we've got essentially like one big stunt set piece every episode. I think that, audiences like have a lot to look forward to when they're getting that much action. They know that they're going to get something each episode, and we've kind of stuck to that. Sometimes more.
This year, or at least this season, Reacher is dealing with, he's working with a team. He's always working with a team, but more so now than in the previous season. And some people came back, with the exception of Maria's character. What's the dynamic like now with Maria's character now that we see her do more here than we did in season one?
Yeah, I'm really glad that Maria got uh, the spotlight shown on her a little more this year. She's super talented. Her character is really well loved, both in the books and on the show. And it's cool to see her get a chance to flesh that out a little bit more. But I really enjoyed sharing more of that time with her and the rest of the 1/10. I think there's a lot to love about the world and the people that inhabit it in Reacher Land. And I think this year we're going to get a chance to see the best of what that has to offer.
Now, for anybody who's read the books, they're going to know that obviously this particular season is not in line with the way the books are. Is that a difference? Does it make a, should it matter?
Sequentially, you mean?
Yes.
That we're going out of order? Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's an anthology. Reacher is Reacher. He shows up in different circumstances in every book, and I think that's really what keeps it so fun and fresh, and why there's over 26 books now. I really liked the idea of going sequentially, but that's just because my experience as a reader was that I just went in order, and I liked each story, each adventure seemed to be better than the one before. So I kind of had that experience and hoped for that for audiences. But I think to move to Bad Luck and Trouble was a very smart way to go about it, because we have Reacher kind of isolated and alone, unknown and unfamiliar to him and his community. And we get the stark opposite in this, where he's got his former 1/10, these people that he hired and served with, and they're solving a case together. So there's a chance to see him with his family.
Skill set wise, as you continue to do this episode by episode, is there anything you're picking up from directors, your co-stars, that you haven't tried before that you can take on to whatever project you do next, skill set wise as an actor?
That's an interesting question. I mean, my camera IQ and that kind of thing is like, it's I understand my way around a set. I understand what people do, what their jobs entail, and but I will say that I think the area of greatest improvement, excuse me, is in my own fight style. I've spent a lot of time, a lot more time than I ever have for any project recently, really trying to refine and improve my stunts and fighting style. And I think to honor this character, it really needed that kind of refinement. So, trying to improve that a lot, and which with all the action roles that I have these days, it's obviously something I can carry over.
Hey, it's good to see you back. Hopefully we get a season 3. I saw the news about the new deal, so keep it going. Rooting for you. Take care.
Season 3 is in motion right now as we speak, so you're good to go.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you. All the best.
Hey everyone, this is Brian from Comic Book Resources. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I am good. Just really quickly, Serinda, we haven't met before, but I'm from the Smallville magazine.
No way. It's
Yes.
so nice to meet you.
It's
That
so
was
nice
my
to meet you
first
face to
role.
I know. So this season is so good for Reacher. So let's just start off by asking, Reacher is usually this lone wolf. So what makes this big dysfunctional family work? What does that dynamic look like, and how do they bounce off of each other?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think it they accept each other for who they are. You know, I think that's the main ingredient to being a functional, dysfunctional family. And I think these characters really do that. They show up for each other. They just have a knowance that they all will always be there for each other. There's a family bond there that was established many years ago, and it doesn't matter where we go in our lives and what we do with our lives, that will always be there. And I think that's a really wonderful notion.
I agree. I think it's the difference. I love that functionally unfunctional because we're all of the characters are so different as well. And I think one of the things that we forget is difference actually helps us get along because you bring different skill sets into the room. You bring different personalities, different ways of solving a problem. And you watch that in this season is, based off of the first episode, what Reacher's way of solving a problem is, but you don't know what David O'Donnell's is, or Karla Dixon's, or Neagley's for that matter, because you saw her so much in season 1, but in the back end, and now it's like really this beautiful showing who Neagley is. So it's a really cool season.
I'm Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. My question is, you guys are working on different projects. What led you to say yes to taking on this project, and did you have to work out physically, knowing what what Reach is all about?
Well, for me, I think it's just a fantastic show, and I gravitate towards good writing and things that seem like they'd be a blast to do. And so getting the opportunity to do it is just a big blessing, and I'm super, super happy to do it. So there really wasn't much chance of me saying no, thank you.
He's also kind of a badass in his real life, so is Maria. Like, Maria was a dancer, he boxes, I was a gymnast. So I think we all trained, but we also lived our life. We lived our life training for this role. So it's nice because we have enough differences as characters that we're still stepping in as actors and we get to bring this new side of us. But when we would go in and do stunt training, they'd be like, okay, so here's how you throw a punch. And you're like, yeah, no, I know. And they're like, great, let's see what else you can do. So it elevated very quickly, but I think we all had to do quite a lot of, you said cardio. Maria was she was already a badass from season 1. So it was just picking up the same place that she left off.
Rehearsing. A lot of rehearsing.
Yeah.
My name's Jimmy. I'm with Retro Cool Nerd. First, let me say thank you guys for taking the time to swing at some of these softballs we're going to throw at you here. I'd like to know, Maria, your character is seen as sort of more of an equal to Reacher, but there seems to be a little bit of underlying tension there. Is there any future for a relationship between these two characters, or
What? What?
Spoiler! No, I'm just kidding. It's interesting. When you read the books, there always is something there that tells us, like, maybe in a different world, in a different life, these two could be great together. But the way that their relationship has been established, their personalities and their emotional capacity for intimacy is such that this is how they work to have a person on a sort of permanent way, in a permanent way in their lives. I think this is like what it would be. And Neagley, of course, has the thing about not wanting to be touched and not wanting physical closeness. And Reacher is his own man, and of course is like very much living life sort of by the seat of his pants. And so I feel like their friendship is an unbreakable bond, and I don't think that will ever change. But I do think it's interesting to play around with that notion of the actual emotional intimacy between them.
I'm Charlie Ridgely from comicbook.com. Sorry to Serinda and Shaun, because you guys are awesome. I hate to do 2 Maria questions in a row. Me and Jimmy didn't talk about it, so I didn't know we were gonna throw that one out there. But going from season 1 to season 2, Maria, you had a much smaller role in season 1, but you kind of come in and you talk about that chemistry and that bond that those two characters have. It's very, very instant. You can see it on the screen. Like, these two people belong together in a partnership sense, maybe not romantically, but they fit so well as partners on a job. And this long-standing friendship. And then now season 2, you get to really expand that, and you get to be a huge part of the story. I'm just kind of curious about when you found out, hey, of all the we're not bringing back any characters except you, for the most part. and you're going to get this larger role. Kind of your process in that, and what you wanted to do with Neagley to give her a bigger life in season 2.
Well, I just because of my deal structure, I had like sort of like a wink, about what was coming, but I didn't know specifically what book we were going to do. And when I found that out, I was thrilled because Bad Luck and Trouble is one of my favorite books. And I think, and so of course, when that was announced that was what we were going to do, it was sort of set in stone that I was going to be returning. And it was just a great opportunity to dive deeper into this wonderful, weird relationship between the two of them, and also just all the character work that I had done sort of prepping for season 1, knowing that no one will probably ever see this, because it's all just for me to be able to play my character. And so it was just nice to be able to, develop that a little bit further and dive deeper into who Neagley is and what makes her tick and why she does what she does.
It's Gig Pata with LRM Online. Obviously it is based on, we jump from book 1 to book 11 for yourselves. So in preparations for season 2 of Reacher, did you pick up the book first, or you went ahead and read the script? And how different is your characters from the book?
It's interesting because the book is the entire story, right? Where in television, you don't get the entire season, right? You get one, or you get audition sides, and that's it. So until you actually get the role, you're not in it yet. You can read it. I had a quick look at it and was like, set in Los Angeles, great. I live in Los Angeles. Cut to, we're in Toronto right now. A little bit colder. But yeah, you read the character description because that's coming from the source. And then as soon as I got it, I grabbed the book and I went right in and started diving into her character. And then she's in a few more of the book, so trying to figure out what that looks like. And then ultimately, when Lee Childs came on set, it was like, did I do it? Did we do it? How does this look? And he was very gracious, and he was like, you're a Karla Dixon for sure. And I was like, thanks, Lee. So that was a pretty incredible moment. But yeah, the book definitely helped. The whole world's there. It's incredible. I don't know about you, Shaun. I think you read it as well right away.
Yeah, read it right away. You're kind of taking, like, when you're shooting a show, you can't really shoot everything that's in the book, so you have to abridge it to a degree. So you're taking the main substance of the character, and then there's some expansions, right, that happen when you're looking at something being filmed versus reading, all the details. So there's a bit of a line to walk between going, okay, how much leeway do I have to put my spin on this character so long that his spine is right, that it's true to the character, in a way that people are going to go, oh my God, that's him, as opposed to, who the hell is this guy? I read the book. So, I personally, I feel like we all have done that book justice, and Lee seemed to endorse that concept as well. So, really pleased with it.
And for me as well, I mean, it's the same. I read all the books that Neagley were in before I started season 1, so I felt very prepared, and I took a lot of my work from those books, just because there was just so much there in terms of who is Neagley and what is she about and why is she so mysterious, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, I added my own element to that. And again, I think everybody was wanting the approval from Lee. It's like, did I do a good job? Did I do a good job? And so when you get that, it's, you didn't butcher his life's work, so that's a relief, But yeah, it's just creatively exploring these characters is fascinating.
None of you are unfamiliar with action, and things get pretty brutal in the Reacher universe. What fight sequence are you most proud of this season?
Normally I have like one, because there's always one on the show that I'm like, I was a badass. I honestly can't answer that. I think I have one stunt with a helicopter that was pretty great. I love that one. But I will say, like, you're surrounded by badassery. Like, we have a scene in a parking lot where I would look over and Maria's smashing a guy and Shaun has two guys on him pulling, and then all of a sudden Maria throws her guy at me, and like it's this choreography all together, and it's such a cool. I don't know. Like, do you guys have one specific scene? I don't. I love
For me,
it all.
it's probably that one.
That scene?
The parking lot.
The parking lot scene.
I think I have one where I am being thrown into and through glass, which normally is what a stunt double is there for. And my stunt double was like, so when I go through the glass, but obviously I'm doing that, but do you need anything else? And then our stunt coordinator comes up and like, no, she's doing it. And my stunt double just said, what? Because it's just not, normal, I guess. I heard for a lot of actors to do that kind
Glass
of level of
work,
stunt
yeah.
work, but thankfully we have such a great stunt team that will cater our sequences to what we are capable of doing. And because I'm always like, let me do it, I can do it. I'm very stubborn that way, and so they let me do all kinds of really crazy stuff. So for me, that's probably the one I'm most proud of, just because.
You also had the run and slide. The thing is, we're all stubborn. We all want to do our own stunts. We have such a great stunt team, so they'll like do it first so we can watch, and then we're like, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah.
But there's a scene with Maria where we're running through a cemetery,
Right.
and she's ahead of me, and we're getting shot at. I actually got shot. That wasn't as fun. I literally go down, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, you can tell. I don't know if they've cut that. They've had to cut that out. But I look up, and Maria's like just Terminator running, and then she does this like home base slide, and then like pops up and gets her gun, and I was like,
But that was not planned, though. That was
I
like
know, but I'm just
because
saying,
it had
she's
been
straight
raining for a
badass.
week
I
straight,
know.
and we were literally
So good.
sprinting
So
through
good.
mud, and I had to just get there. So
Let's
but
not diminish the coolness. She's saying it was muddy, blah, blah, blah. It was cool. I literally had a girl crush on her the moment I saw her do that, and I was like, I am on the right show of capable women. Yes, exactly. And Shaun's very capable too. We hate each other.
Yeah, terrible time.
So besides the stunts, is there anything skill set wise as actors you picked up from doing this series that's different from your other shows or other projects you've done that maybe you can take on to whatever project you do next?
Surviving the freezing cold when I go to Antarctica next, even though I never will. I don't want that skill set. I never want to use that skill set again. I don't want to have to learn how to talk with my mouth completely frozen.
Right.
I have that skill set.
Aren't you going to be filming
Nope, not doing it.
Survive or
Nope,
whatever that
not
show is where they drop you in
Alone.
Alone?
I want to do
There
Alone
you go.
so
There you go.
badly.
He's going to do
But
Alone.
Alone in Hawaii, that's my show.
Exactly.
When you guys do that show, Alone in Hawaii, I'm your girl. You'll just see there with like a suntan and a coconut.
For me, it was the military aspect. I think, I am just a stickler for research, and so I did a ton of research in terms of what is that experience like, because I didn't serve, but I have some friends who did, so they put me in touch with people that I could talk to, specifically women of color, and what their experience was like in the military, because it is such a machine, and there are such rules in place for a reason, and everything is so meticulous, and I feel like if you don't have an awareness of that, and you're just sort of doing the Hollywood version of that, I think you lose, it cheapens it for me a little bit. So for me, doing all that research, I think is definitely something that I would take on to another job if I'm doing any other character that has a military background.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Me too.
But also Alone.
Me too.
In Mexico.
Ours. We're the same, but slightly different. Exactly.
Yeah. The military stuff with me as well. Clearing a house type of stuff. That's certainly something that I was learning on the go. Wish we actually had more of that training, but it's Canada.
I had a
Thanks,
show.
Canada.
I had a show that already did it all, so I luckily got to. I had to pull
Yeah.
from that before, but I also learned our stunt team is so good on here that I was like, I've got it, and they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
No, you don't.
Learn more. Learn more. You're always learning. You're always evolving, and that's the great thing is when you work with such amazing professionals, is you get to, you feel like I can do that. I can't in real life, but I can almost.
Thank you
you.
guys. Thanks for enjoying it.
Yeah.
Great
You
to
too.
meet you guys.